The Alamo brings in more than 1.5 million visitors every year, making it the biggest attraction in the state of Texas. And with tourism comes the need for a place to stay.
There are not a lot of hotels that have that feel.
Luckily for Alamo goers, there's a hotel right next door that might be equally as interesting.
Welcome to the Menger Hotel.
A place people have been visiting for more than 150 years.
The Menger Hotel is the oldest operating hotel in the state of Texas.
Garvin O'Neill, the general manager of the Menger Hotel, is being modest. It's not just the oldest in the Lone Star State, but even west of the Mississippi River.
It's just so fun to interact with guests that come to the hotel and be in their 70s or 80s and say, we spent our wedding night here.
So why don't you check into the Menger Hotel with me, as we remember the Alamo City's oldest hotel.
Who doesn't know the Menger Hotel?
This hotel that screams San Antonio history was built in 1859 by William and Mary Menger.
The hotel is named after William Menger, who came from Germany to Texas in San Antonio in the late 1840s. And he was the first beer brewer in the state. So Menger beer was the first commercial beer brewed in the state of Texas. And he was successful at it. He didn't really want to run a tavern, but he found that the demand for his beer in a tavern was greater than his demand for buying beer in barrels. So he opened a tavern. With San Antonio being such a frontier town at the time, and not a lot of places for people to stay, a lot of people would imbibe in his tavern and spend the night there. So his girlfriend ran a boarding house, and he and his girlfriend thought, why don't we build a boarding house next to the tavern?
That boarding house quickly became much bigger and much more successful than the Mengers ever imagined. Seeing its success, William now had a bigger vision.
And he petitioned the city in the late 1850s to build a full-service hotel right here on this site.
And the rest, as historians say, is history.
I mean, this is just such a great hotel with a great history.
The hotel started off with 2 stories and 50 rooms.
We're actually sitting in the original front entrance of the Menger Hotel when it opened in 1859.
What started as a brewery business quickly became one of the hottest attractions in San Antonio. That includes the Alamo.
The brewery business took a back seat pretty much after the hotel opened very successfully.
And with success comes expansion.
Quickly they added a 3rd story, and very quickly after that they took the hotel and put an extension all the way back, and it was well over 100 rooms by the late 1800s.
In 1871, William passed away, leaving the hotel to his wife and son to continue to run. 10 years later, the hotel was sold to Major J.H. Campman, who actually was the architect and builder of the hotel. Campman ran and owned the hotel until the 1920s. Part of his contribution includes adding a 3-story addition to the north and east wing. He also added what came to be known as the Menger Bar.
The bar was originally built as a copy of the House of Lords pub in London, England. So they took the wood paneling and all the components of the House of Lords pub and they recreated it in the Menger Bar. It's a little more square than the original pub, but all the stairs here, the columns, the little balcony above, these are all from the original Menger Bar.
Now on the newer side of the hotel, this bar is a time capsule of early San Antonio. Step inside and you can almost picture a cowboy strolling in, spurs clicking on the floor. And one cowboy whose spurs you could have heard clicking was the king of the cowboys.
Roy Rogers was here every year because he was doing an event with the city, and he brought Trigger.
Another famous guest?
Teddy Roosevelt, who virtually lived at the Menger Bar for months at a time before the Spanish-American War, recruiting Rough Riders. And we have, in honor of the Bull Moose Party for Teddy Roosevelt, we have our taxidermy hanging on the pillar.
In 1909, noted architect Alfred Giles added an ornamental marquee to the exterior, and the original lobby received a new marble floor with Renaissance Revival style details.
And he gave it kind of a Romanesque feel. We capped the pillars with a Roman columns.
But even hotels as successful as the Menger go through some rough patches.
It fell into a little bit of disrepair over from the Depression era.
Unable to see such a storied hotel fall apart, the Moody family out of Galveston bought the hotel in the 1940s, and have been the owners ever since. In 1949, a new lobby, along with 4 stories and 125 rooms, were added to the hotel, making it more recognizable to how it looks now.
And if you stand here, you can identify the stages of the hotel expansions by the stones and the brick used. Apparently, it was here in the courtyard for about, 30 years or so in the 1900s, where the story is a guest couldn't pay their bill, and they had 2 alligators. Oh. And they traded the alligators. The hotel took the alligators as payment, and they put them in a little alligator pond here in the courtyard. Huh. But I still have 80-year-old men come up to me and go, are they still here?
And in 1989, they were added to a prestigious list as they became members of the Historic Hotels of America.
It's an important collection, and if I'm a hotel guy, so you tell me a city, I'll tell you a historic hotel that, for example, if you go to New York City, the kids will want to go to the Empire State Building. I want to go to the Waldorf Astoria. It's important. There are some great old hotels, and we have a lot of clients that travel the country, and they base their travel on what hotel they're going to stay at.
Some people, they base where they go based on how spooky the place is. And this hotel is as spooky as it gets. So throughout the years this hotel's been in operation, there's always one question on everyone's mind.
Is this place haunted?
Great question. Is the Menger haunted? In a simple answer, probably.
You heard it here first. According to sources, if you check into the Menger Hotel, you might have an unlikely roommate.
The paranormal is, if it's real, it's probably real here. But I have been told, and I've heard nothing to the contrary, that all the ghosts are friendly. So people shouldn't worry about it. I've not had someone come down the hallway screaming to check out of the hotel because some ghost chased them with a phantom knife or anything like that. They're all very friendly.
One of the friendly ghosts?
One is Richard King of the famous King Ranch. That was the biggest ranch in the world in the 1800s that stretched from south of Corpus Christi all the way down to the border of Mexico. So Richard King stayed at the Menger when he had to come to town and do his banking and do his lawyering and all that. And he would stay a month at a time. And he stayed actually right above us. He had a suite of rooms right above us. And as he got older, he came to see his doctors. And he was here for an extended time, and he was dealing with serious illness, and he passed away in the hotel. And the bed he passed away in, we still have. But this is the 4-poster bed that he passed away in. And it's part of the Richard King suite. So, housekeeping. It's the most requested room in the hotel. And the stories, if you believe them, is that he comes to visit people while they're sleeping in the bed. He comes to visit them. I had one gentleman say, I stayed and slept in the bed in the middle of the night. It was like someone was pressing down on me very hard. I showed Richard King's great-great-grandson this room about 6 months ago.
Oh, wow. What did he think?
Oh, he loved it. And he loved the fact that it was connected to his family.
The world-famous stories don't stop at celebrities.
Yeah. The other is we had a housekeeper, room attendant, in the late 1800s named Sally White. And Sally White lived in a boarding house up Blum Street, so about 3 or 4 blocks away, got into a fight with her husband, and he shot her. And he shot her a couple times, and she came to the Menger, wounded. And Mary Menger at the time took her in the room, and they brought doctors in to try to, revive her and save her, and they couldn't, and she passed away. And so Sally White, in her Victorian housekeeping uniform with a bonnet, is seen by lots of guests carrying linen down the hallway.
One person could see her so vividly.
But here's the interesting,
She put it on a canvas.
Here's a picture. So we have a local artist who did a series of artwork with ghosts in the Menger. That's an oil. Can you believe that? That's an oil painting.
But the Menger Hotel is a lot more than just hotels full of friendly ghosts. Which is why they recently received a much-deserved renovation. And it started with the hotel's famous neighbor.
And the Alamo is going through a $500 million renovation of the whole Alamo site to make it a international tourist destination. We're very excited about the plans.
The first phase has just been completed, with the new Plaza de Valero site right in front of the hotel.
This was originally a street, so you could drive. And so it's now all pedestrian walkway, and delighted with that. We fondly call it our new front yard, and we're very excited about that.
But even before the recent renovations, there was something about this place that kept people coming back.
In fact, I had one guest say, if we come and stay with you for our 50th anniversary, will you charge us what you charged us 50 years ago when we checked in? And I said, I'd absolutely do that. I think the rate was $14.
$14 for a historic and unique experience that is priceless for visitors.
This phone bank, it's the most photographed part of the hotel.
Really?
And for me, okay, maybe I'm getting older, but this doesn't feel like old history. To me, it's not that old, but boy, do people go crazy over this. Like the Yellow Pages, payphones have pretty much gone the way of being obsolete. This week, I saw a lady with the door closed talking on her cell phone in the phone booth. I should have gotten a picture of that. That was so great.
Experiences visitors can visually see as they walk to the check-in.
This is one of my favorite wings in the hotel. So guests arrive at our porte-cochere over here to the left, and they come in to check in at our front desk all the way down to the right. And you have this great hallway of photographs and memorabilia. You have a whole glass area with just Teddy Roosevelt historical uniforms. And we're right here at the Menger bars. But the photographs here are just so great and so remarkable. And it's just a series of black and white photos wonderfully framed along the hallway that show different people like Babe Ruth staying in the hotel. So it's important that we maintain that history.
History that would have made Garvin's grandparents' days home runs.
And I'm a New York Yankee fan. My relatives are all from New York. My mom, my grandmother and grandfather spent their honeymoon in Yankee Stadium in 1928 to watch Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, and all those, the Bronx Bombers. And they spent their honeymoon there and watched the Yankees every day for the rest of their life on cable TV. So when I came to the hotel, I look and see a picture of Babe Ruth in a suit standing in front of the entrance of Menger. That was very nice. I thought of my grandparents. They would have liked to see that.
But there's something else about the Menger Hotel that stands out to O'Neill,
There are not a lot of hotels that have that feel.
who jumped at the opportunity to be the general manager of the hotel a few years back.
And you walk into the Menger and it's completely unique. And it has a history that speaks to you when you're walking around. And you glean from it and you get a sense of it. I walk the floors and I see heirlooms as pieces of furniture that are on the hallways. And those heirlooms weren't bought 5 years ago and kind of made to look antique, but they were freshly made. And they were bought in the 1800s. And they were brought over by ship to the Menger from Europe. And then you talk about the different people that stay here and the stories about it. You'll be working and someone will knock on my office door, can I come in? And then they tell you about when they stayed here as a kid and why they're back and how special it is. And you don't get that in every hotel. And so yeah, this is a special place.
So whether you're staying in a haunted suite or saying I do, the Menger Hotel will definitely make an impact on you. And no matter what the impact, friendly or memorable, It'll make you want to come back for another stay. In the Menger Hotel, I'm Marcus Risen, Ken's 5.